Episode 16 of When Life Gives You Tangerines begins with the Yang restaurant reaching new heights and flourishing. For the first time in their lives, Aesoon dares to dream of travelling abroad with Gwan-sik. Meanwhile, Gwon-myung juggles raising her daughter and managing work, with Aesoon often stepping in to babysit her granddaughter. Later, Gwon-myung decides to use some of the money they saved for her parents' health checkups. For the first time ever, Aesoon and Gwan-sik both undergo a full body examination. While Gwan-sik is under anaesthetic, Aesoon discovers the deep-seated guilt he has carried all these years over Dong-myung's death, believing that if only he had built the barrier, Dong-myung would still be alive. The next day, we see both Gwan-sik and Aesoon at Dong-myung's grave. Gwan-sik recalls how, over the years, he has silently watched Aesoon visit and stay by Dong-myung's side, yet he could never bring himself to stand beside her. Instead, he had always kept his distance, crying in silence. That day, Aesoon writes another poem, just as Gwon-myung calls to tell them that the doctor wants to run more tests on Gwan-sik. They comply, only to learn that Gwan-sik has been diagnosed with a form of blood cancer. The following days are then spent focused on his treatment. One night, Gwan-sik asks Gwon-myung to stay with him, reminiscing about his life with Aesoon. He also makes one last request, that she never leave her mother alone after he is gone. When Gwan-sik finally returns home, Yeon-myung breaks down in tears, confessing that he had wanted to buy another boat and a car for his father. In a flashback, we see Gwan-sik taking Yeon-myung out for Jjajangmyeong on his birthday, despite the family's unspoken rule against celebrating so soon after Dong-myung's passing. Later, Gwon-myung appears on television as the founder of a new online education platform, crediting her parents for their pivotal role in her journey. Gwan-sik then spends his final days at home before being admitted to the hospital, where he passes away while gazing at Aesoon's smiling face, his last request for her. And I dare anyone to watch this scene and not have tears in their eyes. What follows is a prolonged period of grief for Aesoon, who turns to poetry to cope with her loss. And many years later, we find that her book is actually complete. She now volunteers at an elderly care home, helping former Haenyo learn to read, which of course was the first scene in episode 1, so everything ties back to where we started again. Meanwhile, Gwon-myung has repurchased her parents' old home for Aesoon to live in, and the family often gathers there. This is when we discover that Aesoon's book of poetry has been published, with its editor bearing a striking resemblance to Aesoon's mother. The show then ends with Aesoon once again feeling the spring of her life, as her book becomes a tribute to her cherished memories of her beloved Gwan-sik. So When Life Gives You Tangerines comes full circle with Aesoon's journey, her childhood, her love affair, her marriage, her children, and eventually her old age. The episode does feel slightly fast paced with multiple time jumps in its attempt to wrap things up, since it prioritizes emotions, the weight of love, care, grief, and what it means to live a full life. The series also mirrors the natural flow of a river, beginning with the bubbly energy and lightheartedness of its early episodes, before slowing down, stabilizing, and maturing as it progresses toward its final moments. In the end, what we get is a deeply moving and heartfelt conclusion to this Korean drama. When Life Gives You Tangerines is easily one of the best dramas of the year, one that will stay with us for a very long time to come. Thanks for watching, and do let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Smash a like or subscribe to the channel, your support is very much appreciated. I'm Greg Wheeler, and from all of us over here at The Review Geek, we'll see you on the next video.